In the dynamic world of influencer boxing, Andrew Tate has made headlines by directly calling out Jake Paul, accusing him of dodging their potential fight. Tate, known for his brash persona and kickboxing accolades, didn't hold back as he slammed Paul for rejecting an offer that could have tested the limits of both fighters. "Jake, it's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and somehow became a multimillionaire, I'd probably live in a dream world too," Tate stated, underscoring his disdain for Paul's approach to boxing. Tate's critique of Paul goes beyond mere insults. He labeled him an avoidance expert, pointing out Paul's tendency to cherry-pick opponents. This behavior has become a hallmark of Paul's career, leading Tate to question his credibility as a serious boxer. "You want to fight and you want to send a contract? Send one to me. I will take a few weeks off from living my retired life to kick the living expletive out of you," Tate challenged, demonstrating his readiness to step into the ring. Interestingly, Tate also took aim at Paul's previous bold challenges, such as his open call-out to Conor McGregor, which ultimately fizzled out. According to Tate, Paul is more invested in generating headlines than in facing genuine competition. This sentiment was echoed during a recent podcast episode, where Rogan discussed Paul's reluctance to engage with Tate, emphasizing how the so-called boxing prodigy seems to have developed a sudden case of stage fright. Tate's criticisms highlight a significant disparity between his willingness to fight and Paul's avoidance tactics. He wasted no time mocking Paul's excuses for avoiding their match, dismissing vague claims about career strategy and complaints about fight terms as mere fear disguised as PR spin. "Jake's entire career revolves around dodging real competition," Tate asserted, further fueling his long-standing critique of Paul's boxing approach. The narrative becomes even more compelling when considering Paul's upcoming fight against Mike Tyson. While Tyson is undoubtedly a legend and a guaranteed pay-per-view draw, he is also 57 years old, making this matchup feel more like an exhibition than a serious contest. Tate questioned how Paul can claim to be a disruptor in boxing when he opts for opponents closer to retirement age rather than facing elite fighters. For Tate, this avoidance underscores everything wrong with Jake's approach to the hardest sport in the world. "Most fighters dedicate their lives to this and never see a payday. I'm one of the lucky ones," he said, emphasizing that he may not have millions to bet but does have a serious offer. "I do have $3 million to bet with you." His challenge was not just a monetary one. It was a direct confrontation of Paul's integrity as a fighter. Critics of Jake's fight choices are growing louder, particularly regarding his history of calling out big names without following through. His past attempts to engage with fighters like McGregor and Sean Strickland have led to accusations of him generating buzz while avoiding real threats. In contrast, Tate has consistently offered to fight Paul, positioning himself as a legitimate challenger rather than just another influencer. This situation is not just about Tate's frustration, it's about the legacy Jake Paul is building. He portrays himself as a disruptor in boxing, yet his actions suggest otherwise. Rejecting fights with legitimate contenders like Tate undermines that narrative, transforming his boxing career into a spectacle more akin to reality TV than a serious sport. As social media buzzes with criticism of Jake's refusal to engage with Tate, fans are beginning to see through his carefully crafted persona. Many are questioning whether his rise in boxing is built more on spectacle than on skill. Meanwhile, Tate's reputation continues to grow as someone unafraid of real challenges. The missed opportunity for a fight between Jake and Tate could have been a blockbuster event. Both fighters are known for their charisma and ability to hype a fight, and the build-up alone would have been electric. More importantly, it would have given Jake a chance to prove himself against a seasoned professional. Instead, by rejecting the fight, he sends a clear message. He may not be ready for that level of competition. Ultimately, Andrew Tate's willingness to confront Jake Paul directly highlights a deeper issue in boxing: the balance between skill and showmanship. Jake's career has leaned heavily toward the latter, prioritizing marketable matchups over meaningful competition. This trend contributes to the erosion of boxing's integrity, and Tate's criticisms serve as a defense of the sport. As the landscape of influencer boxing continues to evolve, one thing remains clear: Andrew Tate has already secured a victory in the court of public opinion. By calling out Jake Paul's hypocrisy and challenging him directly, he has solidified his position as a serious competitor. Meanwhile, Jake must confront the reality that his carefully constructed image may not withstand the scrutiny of fans seeking authenticity in the sport. The clock is ticking for Jake Paul to step up and deliver, lest he be remembered as another influencer who shied away from a real challenge.